very much. Okay, I'll start the formal part of the agenda, and then what we're going to do is we will consider the applications for those people who are here who have particular interest. So we'll do those first. I should advise you that this is an advisory committee. Any decisions on planning matters in Harpenden will be made either by officers at the District Council or by the Plans North Committee. Okay, so we provide an opinion, but the decisions are actually taken at St Albans District Council. Okay. Right, so I'll just do the formal part of the agenda. Any apologies for absence?
Yes, Chairman, we have apologies from Councillor Heritage, who's in St Albans itself, and also from Councillor Cooley, who's being replaced by Councillor.
Okay. Right, thank you very much. Any declarations of interest from the councillors present?
No.
No, thank you. Minutes of the meeting of Planning B Committee held on the 1st of November 2016. I wasn't here. Were those of you who were here, can I sign those as a true record?
Yes.
Please. Thank you. Thank you. Any public questions in accordance with Standing Orders 64 and 65? Right, thank you very much. Right, so we can now move on to the applications. I think the first one we're going to take is Southgate.
Yes.
Right, with the gentleman who wants to speak on Southgate, can you come to the table, please?
Thank you very much.
And if you could keep it to 3 minutes.
Oh, certainly. Firstly, thank you very much for allowing me to speak tonight, and apologies for not registering earlier. I didn't realise that was a requirement. I only found out very recently. My application, I'm the applicant. I own the house of 9 Southgate Court. 9 Southgate Court is a locally listed building, timber frame, from 1919. It was one of the very first Jarvis-built houses from the local. Obviously the reputable local developers, one of the very first houses nearly 100 years ago. The application is to construct a new 3-bedroom house on the land to the side of our home. The application has been submitted and prepared by Aitchison Rafferty, and in summary the merits of the application would outline as follows. The design and appearance matches the house that my family live in and other sort of mock Tudor houses in that conservation area. The building lines at the front and the rear and the ridge line respect the adjoining properties. Parking standards are complied with. The amenity space standards are complied with. We have a tree report that supports what we're doing. We have 2 days ago we've had approval from Hertfordshire County Council for the road access and the vehicle crossover point based on the vision displays. And perhaps most importantly, our application we would submit, it respects and protects the existing locally listed building to a greater extent than the current valid planning consent, which is to add a 9-metre side extension onto the building. So we believe we've got something that really protects the locally listed building. If I could hand over the street scene, which has already been submitted. It's a copy of the street scene. There's a copy of each of you there. It's a computer-generated image of the street scene to give us sort of a visual idea of what we're applying for. That shows the existing consent of the widened building versus the application we've got into the new build. If the councillors have any questions, I'd be very happy to answer them. And finally, just to confirm, we'd be very grateful for any support we can get from Harpenden County Council. Thank you very much. That's the end of my submission.
Thank you. Okay. Thank you very much. we've got a draft officer opinion here, which was no objection subject to no loss of amenity to neighbouring properties and providing all building regulations are adhered to in order to protect the structures of neighbouring dwellings. Does anybody, any of the councillors here have comments on this one?
So I think I agree with the officer's report on this one. I don't have an objection with it. Provides that there's of course also neighbouring properties. I think it's probably worth because I noticed that the proposed building is higher than the applicant's property. I've noticed, so obviously that you don't feel that will cause a loss of immunity to you, but perhaps that might cause a loss of immunity to future residents of that property. So that's something that we might need to be considered. Although again, the properties next door to the proposed one are higher still, so I don't have any issue with it in terms of street scene or and I would approve of the officer's recommendation as laid out.
Any other comments?
I'm happy with the officer's recommendation. It appears to me there won't be any loss of amenity to either of the residents on either side. It looks good, street scene. Building materials more or less match those of the one at number 9 already. Parking, not a problem, so I think I'm very happy with this one.
I concur with what's been said so far. I can't answer that one. Thank you.
Right, fine, thank you. Right, so we're going to go with the officer's recommendation, which is listed, which I read before.
So is that the officer's recommendation from Harpenden office and Albany?
Yes, as I explained earlier, we're an advisory committee.
So, yeah, okay,
So
you made it clear, sorry, I don't mean to.
So you may need to, well, it's up to you. You know, you could always send some of this material. Has this gone with your
It's already gone in.
It's gone with your application.
So
Okay.
you've answered my question. Thank you very much indeed for your time. Thank you.
Thank you. Right. Give these back.
Yeah.
Okay, next one we're going to look at is 20 Sutton Avenue. Yes, sir, if you'd like to, you've got your book.
Yeah, thank you. So thank you for the opportunity to speak.
Yeah.
I'm not a developer planning consultant or architect, so this is pretty basic what we pulled together, but we thought it'd be helpful to illustrate some of our grave concerns regarding the application. So first of all, I'm Nick Montgomery. I'm the owner of 22 Swansea Avenue adjoining the property, so I'm objecting.
Yeah.
And I have near neighbours in the room here who are also objecting. We're aware of objections made by Harpenden Society and others in the area who just are very concerned at the proposals. Just by way of background, this has all happened rather quickly. The owner is a dear old chap, Norman de Cruz, died in July, and we feel the application has been prepared very hastily. It's just in a matter of weeks, and we believe that is reflected in the very poor quality of the design. Just by way of context, Swansea Avenue, you will know, has a very distinctive arts and crafts style, particularly at this end of the street. It's not a case that this is the best property on the road, but it certainly anchors, I think, the design and the sort of character of this end of the road. In the limited time available, we've carried out some initial research. We know the house was developed in 1932. It's one of the few remaining properties that is pretty much untouched. It's got the original England fireplace, casement windows, and we believe, and we don't know why it wasn't openly marketed, but we believe if it had been openly marketed, it could be very different. Somebody could have bought property and turned it into a fabulous family home. So that's the background. If we just turn to the next page, which are our key objections, as I say, we believe that this will result in a loss of a very distinctive arts and crafts style property. We think it would have a very detrimental impact on this part of Harpenden. There have been new developments in the road. I think people have very mixed feelings about the modern building on Swansea Avenue, but that has a particular architectural merit which we think the proposals do not have it at all. Indeed, if you look at the design, and they haven't gone to the trouble, in fact, of producing a CGI, but when you look at the application, each of the houses is simply a mirror image of the other. And if you look at the quality of the buildings on the road, they all are unique in terms of their design. Overdevelopment in terms of size, scale and massing I'll come back to. And the last point just to note is I understand that historically this particular part of Harpenden was designated as an area of special residential quality, and I don't know if that still applies, but our view is that, you know, this house and others in the road are no different from houses, for example, on West Common Way that have attracted a local listing, and we think something should be in place to protect the house here. Just to illustrate that in a bit more detail, the next page I've shown what we consider the detrimental impacts of overdevelopment. The buildings, by virtue of having basement ground first, second into the roof, will be over 1 metre higher than the immediately adjoining buildings. Approaching Swansea Avenue from Manland, the image on the bottom left-hand side, that will have a very significant, we believe, detrimental view as you approach Sir John Laws towards St George's. That's a very common route used by people. Equally, our neighbours on the opposite side of the street to the development are below the road level, and therefore for them walking out of their front door, they will have a significantly higher building facing them across the road, which again we think should be a reason to refuse. The next point, just two more things to look at. One of the great things about Swansea Avenue, this end in particular, is there is a common sort of architectural style in terms of arts and crafts, but all the houses are very different. They each have their own particular characteristics. If you look at the proposals, and on the right-hand side here, I've shown an extract from the planning application. As I say, the developer hasn't gone to the trouble of preparing a CGI. If you look at a Preston's image of the same developer further along Swansea Avenue, you can compare that with the styles on the street, and there isn't a single common design feature that they have taken the trouble to incorporate in the design. So if you look at our street, there are no bay windows, there are no sash windows. Generally the brickwork is of a darker colour. There are herringbone features in many of the houses. There are hanging tiles, and the local brick I mentioned. And the last point to note is the roof line. You can see here, by virtue of having that extra floor, will just look incongruous really against the neater and lower roof lines of the houses in the immediately surrounding area. Just to finish off, in terms of the rear of the properties, and we're focusing here just on the two adjoining houses, number 18 and our house number 22. This is not a planner or an architect view, this is just me looking at it very simplistically. If you draw a line from the back of number 18, of the two-storey section of number 18 and number 22, which are the dotted lines at the back, you can see that the extensions into the gardens are over 8 metres. And equally, at the front of the house, it's over 5 metres from the curtilage of the existing house. Equally, to the side of the houses, what against number 18 at the moment is a gap about 13 metres. That drops to 3 metres, and on our side, against the two-storey part of the house, we go from about 8 metres to 3 metres. So, in our view, design aside, it's gross overdevelopment. The other point to note is that the plans on the website, again, a number of errors have been corrected, which I think reflects the hasty nature of the application, but one of the errors that's still in there is the arrow showing north is in completely the opposite direction to how it should be. And if you look at the image here, which is where we think roughly north actually is, the southern aspect for both houses will be materially impacted by these extensions, both in relation to number 18, who have windows that look in a patio that looks towards what will be a two-storey block, and on our side, which is a photograph illustrated on the right-hand side here, which is the arrow direction, whereas at the moment we look alongside the building line of number 20, we will just be facing a brick wall essentially. So as I say, we think it's staggering that someone remotely thinks that a development of this scale in this location is appropriate. Well, thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. Okay, well, I've looked at the site and make some sort of comments here. Yes, it's true that you do have the common sort of design style in that part of Swansea Avenue, but also, number 14 is rather, ultra-modern design, so a precedent has been established. And 12 and 16 are quite, relatively modern. Similar style, with the things like that, gables and so forth. I think if you all feel very strongly about this, I'd suggest you take two courses of action. First of all, you ought to approach one of the district councillors for the East Ward. This is the East Ward, isn't it?
It is,
Yeah. It is, right. So that means either Mary Maynard, Rosemary Farmer, or Mike Wakely. Okay? And get them to look at it, and if they feel appropriate, they can call this in for consideration by the Planners North Committee. Only a district councillor can do that.
We have done that.
You've done that. Have they agreed to do it?
It's in progress. I've not had a
Okay.
definitive response, but I understand it's
But
happening.
they're looking at it.
Yeah.
Okay, good. That's the first thing. Second thing is, I think you need to start framing your arguments in terms of the planning policies which are in this book. Okay. You need to start referring to 69 or 70, all of these, rather than giving general, because what will decide whether this is approved or not approved is whether it, in the opinion of the committee, assuming it's called in, it meets the planning policies in here. So you just start thinking about those policies. 69 and 70, I think, are the most relevant ones to this. I think your strongest argument is that in Swansea Avenue, most of the properties are large single properties on single plots, okay, rather than smaller ones on smaller plots, so that there's quite a kind of a spacious feel to the avenue.
Yeah.
I think the design point you can make that, although I think that's likely to be, because of number 14, 12 and 16, that's not a very strong point.
Yeah, I think just to answer the 14 point, I think that has architectural merits.
Yeah.
And love it or loathe it, you can't deny that a lot of thought has gone into that.
Yeah.
And I think our concern here is that this is an off-the-shelf product in a road which has distinctive properties, so that would, I guess, be our argument.
You can certainly make that argument.
Yeah.
Does anybody else have any comments on this one?
Well, I think the street scene will be visibly impacted. I think the existing street scene, as you say, it is mainly large properties on large plots on the road. I also do think that getting rid of this attractive building, replacing it with two others that are more modern, it will be detrimental to the street. And I feel it will affect the local character of the street and the area. With regards to the overdevelopment of the plot, the height is an issue on this one. The property is higher than the neighbouring two properties at the moment, and I do feel that will lead to a loss of amenity for residents. Also, with regard to the extensions, like Mr Montgomery pointed out, that could also be detrimental for the residents in terms of amenity. So, the way I see it, overdevelopment and street scene, this is also the main thrust of the themes from the letters of objection as well, and I do agree with many of them. The two key themes for me, street scene, which I think is going to be detrimentally impacted, and the overdevelopment of the site. I do think it is overdevelopment.
Yeah. So I completely agree that I think this is I'm concerned about the change of the street theme. I think that the resident is right about having a change, and I agree with you about architectural merit. It does look like it's just an off the peg kind of house that I don't feel fits in this particular location. Again, I think a lot of the time when we talk about loss of amenity, what we're really talking about is neighbours and how neighbours feel about properties, and it's very clear that there is a great deal of strong feeling against the loss of amenity to neighbouring properties, especially in terms of the height and also as it's bringing it closer towards the houses. The thing that I would look at, and some that you might cast against, is that it does still fit within the two houses that are proposed, do still fit within the plot line quite neatly, so they've been quite clever the way they put it. In terms of your line, which is really helpful, but the way we look at it in planning terms is the 45-degree angle. So what we'd be looking at is corner to corner, does this go at 45 degrees? And if it does, then there's no reason for the officers to refuse it on this basis. So I think that's something worth, as Brighton, as Councillor said, we all need to have the best opportunity to present your case and because this is really, you obviously care strongly about it, and this, thank you very much for putting it together. It makes it a lot clearer, and especially being able to see the pictures rather than trying to work your way around it. So I think, for me, I think the way I think Councillor Gillen and I are going is that we'd like to recommend refusal based on street theme and concerns with loss of amenity, and also sort of bulk size and mass development. But I think just as a word of advice to people who are going to be looking at this application, who are going to be looking this further, I completely agree with Councillor Ellis that if you are able to get hold of one of these online, then that might be very helpful for you to look through and see how you can line it up with what St Albans will be looking at.
That's very helpful. Thank you. Are there people, other advisors who have worked with people like us previously to help us on addressing those types of points from a policy perspective?
No, I mean, hopefully the relevant councillors, and certainly Mike Wakely has been on the Plans North Committee. He was a member of that when I was. So he would certainly be able to advise you on these kinds of things.
Oh, great, okay. All right, thank you.
Do you have anything to add?
I do, but an apology to make first, assuming that basically searching through my papers, there's my page 18, I've been working off the net. So that explains why I'm basically looking for my bits and pieces and they're not there. That said, can you please read the officer's recommendation again, just to remind me?
It was to be decided by the committee.
Just decided, right, okay, I was just wondering whether there was anything else, that's what I thought. I'll just reiterate what the people said, basically looked at it. I'm unclear as to whether we will or will not find any particular grounds within the rules and regulations as they're laid out in the district plan. It's one of those ones that difficult to find it and difficult to sustain it, but don't stop looking is always my advice to anybody, and there should be a councillor out there who's not involved directly with planning now, as Mike Baker has been suggested, who will come and give you a hand.
And is there any emerging policy on sort of conservation area or the issues, the special residential character reference from 1990?
I don't think you can, I might be wrong here, I don't think you can classify areas in that way currently. I mean, the district plan is still going through the process, and as you'll doubtless read about shortly, there's going to be a delay because the inspector has said that he's not convinced that there was sufficient cooperation with other authorities. So that just came out today. So that's another complication. It's difficult. I mean, unless you can get these properties locally listed. I mean, there are similar ones to this, as you say, in West Common, where I live, and along West Common itself, where it fronts the Y. I don't know if they're locally listed. That's the trouble.
There are a lot sorry if I may though, and there are a lot that were sort of similar area. I mean, the previous application that we've looked there is sort of within the set and within the genre, right up at the other end of Lower High Street. We've got the ones down here, which some of those are listed, and that's easy down to look at your listing if you want to preserve for the future and see where you go from there. As far as I'm aware, they're not in the conservation area, they're not listed at all. There is nothing on it. We do have quite a number of that sort of era of property going up. That was it. We had the Edwardian build, which is our first build, and this is basically sort of second tranche. So away from the Riven development, not quite into the crammed estate. We're somewhere in between. So again, as far as I'm concerned, there's some merit behind trying to preserve. But we need to work with what we've got rather than what might be, unfortunately. And that's how the law looks at it at the end of the day. And this is how and where things fall with the bill. People believe that they've got, that's it, and everybody has a right to their belief, but then they get upset that they've not won, and it doesn't look just. But literally, with this, it is quasi-judicial, this process, certainly at the district stage, and you have to comply with the law. So, having said all that to you, good luck with it, and I hope that you find a councillor that will assist. And these days we take the policy that those of us that are involved in the planning process, even the consultative stage, don't get involved. So that's why you'll see not a lot of us eager to come along and do. Whereas 20 odd years ago when I was about and involved in planning, I would get involved, but times have changed.
Okay, well I appreciate that. Thank you very much. So does that mean it's been refused?
Well, we will, I think what we'll do is, I think the consensus is we'll recommend refusal. On the grounds of the street scene and potential affecting the immunity of the neighbours. We'll work up some formal wording for that.
Thank you.
Okay.
So we probably policy 69, policy 17 and policy 72 with regards to amenity then.
Great.
We'll do the relevant stuff.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Do you want these back?
You can keep those.
Oh,
If you have
they're quite nice actually.
So you've got them bound, everything. I don't normally get these.
Do you need them to the next stage of the process, though?
No, I can get don't worry.
Okay, you're welcome to stay. I'll depart if you wish.
Kind of.
It is very entertaining, so
You're going to have a great evening.
Sorry.
Thank you very much.
thank you.
Thank you.
Returning to you. Oh, thank you. Thanks very much.
Right, next one. One more list. Could do.
Are these two gentlemen here for one in particular?
Oh,
okay.
Come and see what you're doing.
Keep an eye on you, Harry.
okay, so the next one is 11A Blackford Road.
Hang on, we started from the beginning or?
Right, that should be 22 Roxton Way.
Oh, right.
I hope so. I've been writing more of a kiss than I thought I was to start with. Is there anything else on from page 18?
Mine's got
It's just trees, isn't it?
18.
18 is blank. 16 is the page which is the one, which I've
18 is the rear of page 17, obviously. And then you've got 19, which is all about trees.
Yeah, so I worked off on that. Sorry, not important. We'll keep going. I'll shout when I seem to be out. Thank you.
Okay, well.
Okay, are we going to go through the committee ones first?
If you like, yes.
Let's do the ones where the committee decides.
Yeah. That's fine.
Go to page 12 then.
Right, so that will be
11A back.
11A back. Okay.
Two-story sign and part single, part two-story, front and rear extension to the front canopy, rear raised decking, alteration strategy, and it's a V-sub following withdrawal.
Has this drastically altered in any way?
Right, the drawings have been reduced, the rear extension is reduced, bedrooms,
I mean, the last one says single-storey front extension. So we've now got part 2-storey front, 2-storey at the top.
Right, what I've done is, these are the previous ones, so I've marked on the block plan where the alterations have been made, so that you can see. The side extension has been increased, I believe.
I'll say increase, because we recommended refusal last time on the grounds of size and scale of the 2-storey rear.
Yeah, the rear extension's been reduced. The garage has been moved to the side.
Yeah, so they've reduced the size of the garage. They've changed the way the garage goes round. They've made the back, if they changed the back, so it's
That comes
it's
out.
1 instead of 2. I think it looks very similar. Like, apart from they haven't got the door, it looks like they just fiddle around the edges of it, and not actually. It doesn't look like it's the side. I think there's a lot.
I mean, if anything, if it's more than it was last time, I feel...
They've gotten rid of this block at the back, which was the reach, so you can see, instead of having a block here, they've changed it so they can get the 45 degrees. So basically they've done it to get rid of amenity for the
So the gradient of the land, that bit we're talking about, considered it privacy and visual amenity.
But then they've added more in for side of 15, which then becomes an issue for 15. And they've just fiddled around the edges. The main difference is that they've just knocked the chunk out of the back of this bit here.
Yeah.
I
think that was a bit.
And they've made this way, so...
Feels like they've transferred the extension from one side to the other.
The distance further away from that now, so because...
But they've now put this...
Oh no.
So instead of there, it's now like
they've moved it
there.
right on here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's agreeable.
Yeah.
I wondered about the 45 degree line from there.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm concerned about... It's good that they've taken away that second bit at the back, but I think it's now affecting 15, isn't it? And they're pretty close to their boundary as well.
Yeah.
What did
Yeah,
we
so
say last time?
I mean, the ground slopes quite steeply this way.
Yeah.
Can we say something like the proximity of the proposed extension to number 15? Yeah, on this slide. 15. We appreciate that they've taken... Are we able to say that we appreciate the changes to the benefit of number 11, but now concerned about the proximity to 15?
Well, I suppose we could really just repeat what we said before, because it was considered that the privacy and visual immunity of the neighbouring properties, you could say neighbouring property number 15.
Yeah.
I think,
I agree. I think we should, in order to be consistent as well, I think we should say the same again, recommend refusal. I don't think anything's drastically changed.
I err towards that direction. The thing that we never know whether there's been any pre-planning advice from the officers.
That's true.
It does say, we rule that if there is, they usually state it.
I didn't see any
advice.
reference.
No, they haven't.
I do think...
I don't have a great deal of sympathy for people that don't do a pre-application, because, the planning department encourage everybody to have a pre-application meeting before they put their application into the formal process. So if there is anything obviously adrift or in contravention of the policies, it can be corrected there and then. And these people don't seem to have done that.
I think we do have to, like, my concern is that if we say exactly the same, we're not giving the credit for having it reduced slightly. And so some formers might look at that as, oh, Harpenden haven't reconsidered based on...
Well, they'll look at the application afresh and they'll take our comments into consideration along with other comments that they've received. I think we're okay.
Yeah.
I think we're okay.
I concur.
Okay, so we can draft up some wording along those lines.
I've got the old ones and the new ones here.
Okay, cheers guys.
Cheers, Harry. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Well, what's the next one? 8 Willoughby.
8 Willoughby Road, yeah.
Next page.
Oh yes, loft conversion.
Well, if you go up onto the railway line, the old railway line at the back, which is now the
Recycled.
cycle,
isn't it?
cycle
Yeah.
if you go up there, you'll see that quite a lot of the properties along this road have had this type of extension. At least 5 that I could see. It doesn't look very psychic, does it? But,
Yeah, I remember on the other planning committee, Plan B, I remember, I think it was around about this area, someone also put an outbuilding in the rear garden. But also, if there is a precedent already established with people doing this with loft conversion, reflux, etc., I don't necessarily see a problem. My only thought on this one was with regard to parking. Loft conversion, is that going to be, I'm guessing, another bedroom?
I've got downsizing 4 and 3.
Oh.
But my concern was more the outbuilding
yes.
because they are. It's rather large, and if you see the size of their garden, it's quite a long, thin garden, so it's quite a big.
I'll have a look at the...
And then it looks like a house.
Yes.
Could be where they keep the lodgers. Youngsters like
So
me.
it's out.
Something with a leaf.
Yeah. So that's what I was just worried about the effect on the neighbours regarding the outbuilding. I wasn't so much worried, although the dormer looked huge. It's that house there.
Yes, well,
So it's going to be down here.
So yeah, their garden is quite small.
It's in. So the outbuilding is 7.5 metres long by 4 metres high.
yeah, yes. I think, I've got a concern about that as well, because the last time, some years ago, admittedly, on West Common itself, the road that we were on Lake One, somebody built all these things on more or less on the side of their house, not as an extension, but as a separate building. And I was the only person on the committee who objected to that. And lo and behold, 2 years later, there was enforcement action to stop someone living in it.
Oh yeah. Whereabouts was this bit? Was this further towards St Albans? Was this closer into the town?
You know Redbourne Lane?
Yes.
Sorry, not, I beg your pardon. West Common Way.
Yep.
Yeah. West Common Road.
Yep.
It's down there.
Yep. Along that stretch.
About 2/3 of the way along on the right.
Okay.
I think the fact that they're downsizing 4 rooms to 3 in the house, and the materials on the outbuilding are in
And the fact that there is sort of a store which you could make into a kitchen, and then.
Yeah.
But you can't.
But unless they can put some condition on it, which
That would be a good idea. I mean,
they could.
my worry is we're given permission to the sort of things you've been seeing on TV programmes in London, these landlords building sheds at the back of their garden and renting them out to people. I'm worried that this could be, if we're thinking that, could give rise to
There's a
that.
road at the back as well, you see. So,
The road, though, I think, is part of...
so if there was access, could they then apply for it to be...
It's
Well,
very small.
The back of the garden is number 2's garden, isn't it? Back of this garden is number 2's garden.
Of Tarry Cook.
Yeah. So they'll have to drive through their house to get out that way.
Yeah,
What access that is?
no, I don't know.
Well, there's access down the side of
Got it in the right place from the back.
Oh, well,
There is already a. I just think it's too big for the size of the garden. Where it is in the garden.
Well, the trouble is, it's not really affecting the immunity of the neighbours.
Yeah, precisely.
And, you know, it's quite a large plot, although it's long and thin. I think what we do is to say we've got no objection to the roof extension,
Yeah.
but express concern that the garage, the garden room...
The outbuilding, they call it, yeah.
The garden room could be used for living accommodation.
If that does, let's say hypothetically that we approve this and they build it, and then let's say 2 years down the line, people are living in it and it's found they're renting out, what would happen?
Well, enforcement action.
Yeah, okay, so we wouldn't have our hands tied then. We would be able to.
Building and planning control would intervene and take action against the owner.
Obviously, we don't want to get into that stage in the first place.
No.
Okay, alright. Yeah, happy with that.
That's what it'll be.
My comment on those is it's slightly overdevelopment of the site with the additional outbuilding. If the additional outbuilding wasn't there, I wouldn't say so, but
Yeah.
a difficult one. If that fits into it.
Thing is,
It doesn't. I'm not
it's
certain.
a kind of a long, thin plot. It's good, they're quite large gardens. Okay. Okay, that's that one. What's the next one? Fairway Close.
St James Road.
Yeah, the one
St.
down
James'
below,
Road.
yeah.
St. James. Sorry, right.
Part C, part 3-story rear extension to incorporate a basement level.
Yeah, it's
My concerns were the existing basement is to be extended by a further 5 metres along the half-standing wall. It's difficult because it's a basement as it just seems such a big basement extension when they've already got the basement, and then it's sort of 5 metres just seems rather huge.
It's I mean, site, there's a very steep gradient from front to back, and from as you face the house, the road slopes down to the right. So this property does, you know, sort of tower above the next door property, number 13, which is a bungalow with a roof extension in it. So if you built anything big in the back, it would kind of like tower over.
Right.
But there is a fair gap, you know, certainly enough to park a car in between the two properties. Don't know.
mean, the whole basements extensions is a whole new ball game for us, really, isn't it?
If you can't go up, go down.
If it's happened elsewhere and they've already got basements.
Yeah.
Number 13, I think.
Yeah.
Um,
The ground floor first floor extension for that 380.
The neighbouring properties to number these ones go back quite a bit, so that's not really the problem, really, is it? Because it's rear extension, not necessarily.
yeah, the number 13, the bungalow, has a single-storey rear extension, but because of the slope of the ground, I wouldn't be too bothered about the basement because that's like below the fence level. It's the stuff on top of it, I think, which tends to tower over number 13.
Yeah.
So I think, what we could do is we could just say express concern.
Yeah, express concern over the loss of amenity for number 13.
Yeah.
The potential detrimental impact.
For the first floor extension.
Yeah, I think that's a good one to me.
What is okay with that?
Yeah.
I concur.
Can I have a sign back to you?
Let those from
Okay.
before.
Right, the big one. Lake Close.
Page 15.
Yeah, I should mention that I called the original application in for both ways.
Yeah.
For consideration by the council, because essentially the plot at number 9 is a very large plot. The applicants have got approval of 2 very large properties on it, but then I was told that they decided to change their mind because there was less demand for these big properties, so they wanted to put 3 on. And then they said, we've also bought number 10, and we'd like to put 2 on there. So essentially you were going from 2 houses to 5 in a small close, which I thought was problematic.
Are you talking about the previous application?
Yes, the previous application. Now apparently I'm told that what's happened since then is that they've revised. That it was turned down by.
Yes, I was on the committee. Yes.
Yeah, as you can see, SABC turned it down. I understand they've had discussions now. They didn't have a pre-application meeting.
They didn't.
Prior to this 5 application. Apparently they've now done so, and the new scheme is for 4 houses across the joint site, which we're looking at tonight.
Yeah.
That's the process history of the site.
I mean, originally, this came up about 6 weeks or so ago, maybe a little bit more. I went down to look at this site, and like we said in our recommendation, we have no objection in principle to the development of the site because you can get houses in there.
Yeah.
So it's not, I think it's impossible here. But I did feel that 5 detached dwellings with the detached garage was an overdevelopment of the site. It would be cramped and it would be detrimental in terms of amenity to the residents. That being said, this time it does seem like he's listened to what we said in a way, because we're now going from demolition of existing dwelling, which previously was just the one dwelling at number 9, I think, on the corner.
9's gone.
He would have.
9's gone.
Okay.
10's still in place.
Yeah. So the previous one is get rid of 1 and build 5. This time it is get rid of 2 and build 4. So in effect, we have a net gain of 2 as opposed to 4 last time. Yeah. So I feel much more inclined towards this one than the previous application because I think we can get 4 properties in there, and I don't think it will be as cramped, and the amenity won't be impacted as severely as the previous application. So I'm minded to approve this, but open to further suggestions. Yeah. Recommend.
Yeah, I again don't have objection to this following with moving from 5 to 4. I think in fact the way that they position them all quite nicely on the plot, they're quite spaced out, and actually if you look at the street scene, they're creating their own little sort of mini driveway turning circle bit, and it actually kind of mirrors what's in the neighbouring street. So you're turning this end of the street into 4 separate plots instead of 2, which is what's happened here. So what is the case for the next street along? So
Totally close.
yeah. So I don't, and again we do need more accommodation in Harpenden if this is a suitable place to do it, and one that like it is a reasonable development in my opinion.
Any comments, please?
Again, I tend to agree. I don't think there's anything else that I can add to that. That seems to be about there.
Yeah.
It's difficult to find good grounds for objection. Not that that's what we need to do every time, but
No.
I can't see any there.
No, I think it's much improved from where it was before.
Brian, what was this plot of land at the end of Fairway Close?
Number 9.
Yeah. Has it always been vacant? Because I can't remember.
No.
Yeah, this all has it. It used to be a house because it's quite large plot. When I went down to see it in the summer.
Yeah. There was a modest house on the site. It was modest. It was spread out quite a bit.
West Common size, basically.
Yes.
Similar to the other ones on the place. Yeah.
Yeah. But it was kind of a bit wider, if I remember correctly. But then it was demolished and gone.
Yeah. So it wasn't just that it was a big field there.
There was a swimming pool.
Yeah. Because I
Outside.
don't remember. From years ago, I used to obviously cycle around this area quite a bit. So now 9's gone. But yeah, so just getting more houses in a large space, basically.
Yeah. Well, tell me about it. I mean, if you go around West Common,
Yeah.
there is a development on almost every street.
Yeah. And it has been that way for a good few years now. Yeah, so are we recommending approval?
No
Yeah.
objection. No
Okay.
objection.
Don't like to recommend approval, just like to say no objection.
Oh, right.
A difficult one to recommend approval.
Oh, the water. Oh, right.
Yeah.
There used to be a barman and a waiter, so I'm very good at pouring water.
Oh, and Scott.
But they are small. Okay. Okay. No objection. Okay. Now, does anybody want to look at the officer recommendations?
Should we just go through them from the beginning? Just go through them one by one and just see if there's any.
Just go through and
Just agree on each.
Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Lovely Christmas lights this year, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
My kids absolutely love them.
Somewhat an improvement.
Like streets ahead of anywhere else, and they're lovely compared to last year.
Well, you've got Southdown ones to come as well.
Have you?
So, yes. So hopefully they'll be just
Back
because.
next weekend, isn't it?
Yeah. So
This
Southdown
weekend?
this Friday.
Yeah. And the Christmas lights are genuinely stand out good, so I've got to say.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you. Even my dad came round then, because when they went up, he was like, oh, we're the rubbish this year, and we were working on it. Yeah.
We'll be finished.
And getting all that lot sorted out, just for your information, has been another nightmare.
Absolutely.
Right.
Right.
Okay, all right, let's just run through and then page 1.
Happy with that recommendation for Roxton Way.
Are you okay with that?
No comment. And then
Right.
140 station.
yeah, I saw this one, but I'm concerned that it's retrospective as well.
Yeah. Don't like retrospectives.
No. No, that's why I put in that extra little bit.
Yeah.
That taking class.
Happy with the wording?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. From there,
What
isn't it?
one yet? To audit very crescent.
Right, yeah. Oh yeah, it has a really large flank wall that I was concerned about. And the fact that the loss of the garage might be an issue to it. There was an imposing view on the neighbouring properties in Fairfield Close. I think the positioning of the house, and I think it had properties that were on the side, if I can remember right.
Yeah, it will be.
And that's what I was concerned about. Yeah, where they were going to build along the side there. It's going to have a flank wall here, which, because it was a two-storey, these properties here, it would impinge on their views, so I was a bit concerned about that.
Have we had any letters of objection?
I haven't received any in the office, but I haven't sort of checked on Molly's website as such.
Oh.
That's a concern.
Yeah,
I
raised the
agree
right.
with you.
Yeah, you flagged the right concerns. So, yeah.
Alright, on to page 13. Then those two.
Oh, so we haven't done...
I beg your pardon.
Is parking an issue on this one at all, or have they got big enough drive? Because we've got a new habitable accommodation.
Oh, which one are we on about?
47 Roundwood Park.
They retained their garage. I didn't pick up on parking at all, which I usually sort of jump on, so I don't think there would have been an issue with it.
Okay. Probably big enough drive.
Yeah.
Yeah, it depends which end of Round Park.
Okay, on to 20 Ratwood Gardens.
Right. They have. Oh, we're right. Okay, yeah, they have made some changes to the previous application. The roof line's been pulled in and altered slightly, but it's minimal. Insufficient changes to the previous application, so I felt that it would still impact on the neighbouring property and on the street scene.
Again, was there any pre-plan advice on that?
No.
Right.
Tick the no box.
Yeah, sure. Well, I remember asking the architect about 9 Fairway Close. I said, have you had a pre-application meeting? Oh, no, he said my client doesn't like doing that.
A lot of clients don't like the cost.
Yeah,
Elsewhere than here, £360 for replanning.
Yeah. How much
That's not relevant to here, but
how much is the profit margin on the property,
well, nothing in
Which one are we on now?
Okay.
48
Oh yeah, no problem with that.
that's basically replacement.
Yeah. 5 Ravenscroft Road. Right about the parking.
well, sorry.
Page 14. This one.
Thank you.
You're right about the parking. There's not a great deal of parking
No.
for these properties on this street. I take it with a first floor front and side extension, this is not going to cause any loss of amenity to neighbouring properties. Does one of the other properties, maybe one of the neighbouring properties, already have a first floor front extension? Am I right in thinking?
What number? Yeah, number 4 has a first floor front and side extension which has been pulled in over the garage to avoid terracing effect. This application does the same, but I don't think I've actually put that, have I? No. That's one of the things I was concerned about, because I think these ones are going right up to the edge, aren't they? Yeah, they're going right up to the boundary, so there's going to be a small gap.
Has Ford's already done a similar thing to similar extension?
Yeah, they have, but they pulled theirs in just a fraction of the first floor, I believe. But parking is it's an issue.
You can probably get about, what, 2 cars, most drivers, if that. So you could be, and there's not really much space to park on the road either.
Could we change it to express concern instead of, because I feel like there's a few bits in here that,
I think it warrants a little bit of a... Can you pass the application papers, please? Look at this one.
Yeah, there's quite a few papers there. There's a couple of them.
Thank you. Right, okay. Is that the right way? Yeah, it is right.
and if it's an upside down house.
Right, okay, alright.
See, I think, so them going over the garage isn't a problem, but you're right in terms of parking.
I think there is precedent in the street though already. Is one of our problems.
But then that becomes an issue that there's even worse parking, like, because
Yeah,
parking is separate. I know this is a precedent, but if then you take a different...
Yeah, but it's the old case of they've done it, so why can't I? It's not easy.
Yeah, I've got one of those cases too.
I mean, on pure planning grounds, if it's been accepted already in the street, it's okay.
Yeah.
You find it very difficult to say, yes, you've done it, but no, you can't.
Are they going to have a gable roof now? Like a new gable here, as opposed, because they've got a flat roof at the moment on top of the, so that was better for them in terms of safety. Gable roof's always much better than a flat roof. Flat roof's fire hazard. Right on.
You know what, I'm just minded to agree with the officer's recommendation on this one. I think it's quite well worded.
I think you've raised the right concerns, so yeah. I am.
We've got in parking there already, so I don't think we
Mainly
need
all the same thing.
All there, as far as I'm concerned.
Okay.
Yes, yes.
Alright, let's shift on to 15 then. Number 5, there's nothing there. Yeah.
Lots of people getting rid of conservatories now. Not very
Yeah,
good for
I think that.
not very good for insulation, is it? Energy
Doesn't
efficiency.
do your energy rating very good.
And then close garage conversion to habitable accommodation. I take it there wasn't any problems with parking on this one then?
That was the conservatory one.
That's 5 to 7 years.
Right. 5 live, single-storey front extension, garage conversion to a habitable accommodation and repositioning of the front door. Now, there was a letter on the internet which I printed out from a gentleman who lives at 6 Lane Close who's concerned about the positioning of the front door.
Okay.
Because he feels that it is going to affect his amenity, and feels also that by positioning it, the neighbours could possibly impose on where they're going to be walking, and that if he has his front door open, they have their front door open, they're both going to be able to see each other's hallways and so on and so forth. So,
Is this one of the ones with the front door on the side?
well, at the moment, I think he's got his on the side, and at the moment, number 5's got theirs on the front, and they want to move it to the side.
Yeah.
And I didn't really feel it was going to be an issue until this letter was brought to my attention.
I have seen, there are houses though that do have that, depends how close they are together, but there are houses in the north around of Derwent and onto, what street I'm back onto, that they have front doors that face each other, but they're a bit further away, so it's not as...
You've got exactly the same thing in Orderic Road Crescent as well. Some of the properties on the east side of the road have exactly the same. The front doors are on the side of the properties, but they're probably far enough apart. Would this really be a grounds that you can say anything to do with amenity, the fact that they're going to be looking at each other's front doors? It's not really, is it?
A bit marginal.
It is marginal, yeah, so I don't
Could
really
we say
think...
subject to no loss of immunity just to cover ourselves, just with the, especially with the latter, I feel as there has been a concern raised.
Yeah.
We need to do the same, no objection subject to no loss of immunity to neighbouring properties.
Yeah.
I suppose that was clear, yeah. Is it?
But
Sorry,
yeah.
I may as well. Looking into somebody's front door or not looking into somebody's front door is always difficult. If you've got a room where you're constantly sitting watching people in another
Yeah.
room or in the garden or
Yeah.
wherever else, particularly for balconies and Juliet balconies, that sort of, that can be extremely imposing. And the fact that when front doors open, again, I'm always quite the personal one, built new houses opposite me, objected, didn't get anywhere. They did move slightly, instead of me looking in through their front door, I now look straight at their bins through their back door. But you can't legislate for that. That's
No,
the reason
I
I'm telling
agree.
that
I
one.
think
Yeah.
I think it's just worth having a
I think he's also concerned, because he said we would like to know what will be done to ensure that our driveway does not become an accepted route to the new front door and rear garden gate at number 5. The 1 metre wide path will only allow single file use. We feel sure the family will respect our boundaries, but what about their visitors and the many other callers?
Well, the single file use, to be honest, most of the other properties on the estate have
Is it?
single
I mean, I
file
don't
on the
know.
side
Is it-
anyway.
I thought that was quite standard single file. Right?
Yeah, I don't see a problem with that.
And if you're a postman, you're only one person.
Yeah, I mean,
Well, postman of his dog.
What postman? Cat.
Black and white cat. Yeah, for a lady.
I support what was said there is he's subject, no objection, subject to loss of amenity, and I think...
Yeah, I think we've covered ourselves with that one, so I think, yeah.
Okay. Anything on Meadway?
That's fine.
Yeah, thank you.
No objection.
41 Barnes. Yeah, I mean, just looking at the previous comment from HTC, it's not in the conservation area as far as I know.
Barling Drive.
It's all modern housing.
Yeah, because this Barlings Road is a real mix of houses. There's no single defined street thing, I think, on this one.
Yeah, it's all, I mean, it goes, you know, it's got bits off it. I don't think it's conservation area.
You can only relocate the Barlings because this hasn't got very few names on it. If it's
That
shady
would be-
blue, it's conservation. If it's not, it's not.
Well, Barlings Way Road is here, so yeah. Although then again, is it the one right at the end? Barlings Road is
Is it here? Is it on the edge?
unless it's one on the edge.
What number are we talking about? We're talking about 41, so
That's at the
no, that's at the other end.
That's at the top end.
Yeah, if it's at the top
That's well
end, then it's out of, it's only the very bottom first 4 houses, so presume 1, 3, 2 and 4 that are in conservation area.
Surprising. I don't think it is, personally.
No, it's not.
No, I don't think it is either.
It's borderline is the word.
the tree report says it's in the conservation area.
I'm not sure it is.
The tree report says...
Maybe the proposed.
Is that his tree
Maybe the
conservation
trees
area?
in the conservation
Yeah,
area?
maybe the proposed dwelling could end up just inside, maybe.
I think that's too far up the road.
Yeah.
Got to
You
be
can,
realistic.
if
It's well up the
here,
road.
if it's here, this
Yeah.
like, if it's this, right, no, alright, okay. But if it was this house here,
Yeah.
there could be a tree that's like here, and it's got, like, you see what I mean? It's like the whole,
Yeah.
Right, Brian, what do you feel about it, with being in Western as well?
Let's all look at it. We're looking for something.
So I think this one came before us, my planning committee last time, when we actually had a say on it. And I think we felt it was, well, and we did because it says it here, out of scale and character with the other dwellings, although...
Is there a
The
slide?
lady that came in and was concerned
No,
that
excuse me, I might not have been the one.
was changing, and the effect it was going to have on her, and her property. Because there was alterations to do.
Yeah, they the alterations to the roof, that I think was the sticking point on the last one.
Yeah. So this is the previous plan. So they've made alterations to this section here. Legal completion. So it's this one. The alterations there, the grades and
About it, I understand.
Mm.
It's within the spacing. Houses in this area are all very modern houses.
Modern.
And if it goes to
Well,
this house here by road and that. This one.
well, I think you've covered the concern in your statement. There might be an increase. I mean, it's a bit more. I'd have to do a site visit to check it.
I don't think we're on a standard plan with this one. I think we'll be okay. I think we'll be on solid ground.
I think I'm happy with the
Yeah.
Done mine.
South Gate we've done on
Mine, Maple Road.
subjects done. Maple Road.
Maple Road. I had no objections to them at all. I didn't feel that they were imposing extensions, and I didn't feel that they impacted on the area or on neighbouring properties.
Okay.
I concur.
Fair enough. Okay, we're ready to turn to one else. 20 sources done.
My apologies, I found 20 Salisbury, bottom of page 16 and beginning of page 17. Oh, certainly do that. Next page was blank though.
Right.
That's what it was. Right.
Okay, Granby.
Yeah. On this one as well, yes, I was concerned about a terracing effect on the street, see, so I've highlighted that. Because the neighbouring property had already done a two-storey side extension, and that was my main concern.
They've already done it.
Yeah, I think it was just because 52 Granby are going to do it, so I thought I'd just flag that one up. I didn't have an objection in principle to the actual extension, but I just didn't want it to impact on the street thing.
I agree.
I concur, yeah.
Okay, fine. Okay, 80 Park Rise.
Park Rise.
I know parking is a nightmare in that road.
Yeah.
Was that
Yeah.
was that a right understatement?
Yeah, they're increasing their bedroom 3 to 4. Unfortunately, extensions at the front. They're not exempt past the building line. So didn't really have too much of an issue except for the parking.
Yeah,
Okay.
raised the main concern there. I concur.
That's fine. 72 Derwents.
Let's do that. Conditional permission has been granted on the previous application with a condition stating windows on the first floor to be non-opening and securely displayed to protect number 74. so couldn't see too much of an issue with it.
Okay.
Yeah, that's fine.
That's
Tree works.
Lighting,
I was chopping down any forests. Oh, look, Gilham, number 8 Cranbourne Drive. Tree works approved. Page 21.
What are you doing with knocking down trees,
Well,
Harry?
we're reducing the crown of our hornbeam. The hornbeam has grown ever so large over the years, and Dad's an expert on all things nature, and basically we need to get someone in to come in and hollow it out and chop down the line, because it was gradually taking up the rest of the wood and taking over all the other trees' light. So therefore we had to reduce that so the other trees were not threatened in terms of their life by this hornbeam, because that's the thing with hornbeams, they get very, very, very big. They're one of those fast-growing, overbearing trees, so you have to watch them.
So was that a declaration of interest, Councillor?
I suppose, well, yeah, but we haven't really talked about it, though, have we? So we don't need to do that.
Yeah. We'll close the meeting at 8:47.
Oh,